Hello, hello. Welcome to PTZOptics Live. I'm John Roberts, and this is the show where visions become reality. Today, we have a great show. We have the one and only Paul Richards, of course, as always. And we have a couple other guests here with us as well, both from product and support. We have Josh and Andy. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I hope everyone at home is having a great day. We're wrapping up the end of the year here at PTZOptics. And we're giving you guys the chance to ask Paul anything and everything. It could be his favorite color, it could be his favorite tech device, it could be his favorite PTZ camera, and I think you all know what that might be. Maybe the Move 4K. But we want to know where you guys are watching from, where you guys are tuning in. We want to hear it all from you guys in the chat, and keep those questions coming. We'll try to answer everything during the show. Before we get started, we do a little thing called Live Show Squares. That's a little recap of what we're going to talk about and some things you guys need to know. So I'll pass it over to Paul to do our Live Show Squares.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. You can even see Frank is here today, the office dog. All right. So today, nice job, Mike. Mike's moving the PTZ cameras. I love to see him doing that. Today's Ask Me Anything. So please feel free. Any of your burning questions. It's not just me here. We have Josh from the product team, Andy from support. We're all going to chime in and answer these questions. This will be a fun show. I wanted to remind everyone, we still have a holiday savings sale. So it's $200 off the SuperJoy, $100 off the HCJoy, $150 on the PTJoy, and $200 off the producer bundles. So holiday savings are still in play. It's probably a good time to check that out. The PTZOptics Insider is our not necessarily monthly or quarterly, but when we release these, it's got all of the updates that are coming from our product team, all of those continuous firmware updates that are unlocking new features, making the cameras more secure, right? Security on your IP connected devices, making them more functional. And we cover all that in the Insider, so check that out. Today we have some prizes, including someone's going to win a PTZOptics Move SE. And since it's the last show of the year, we want to do something interesting. John has some questions that he is going to be asking. The first person to answer it correctly will get to spin the wheel. There's a bunch of prizes on the wheel, 2 chances to move a PTZOptics Move SE. Now, I wanted to quickly show you behind the scenes how this show is set up. It's always an educational moment to explain how our PTZOptics camera system is put in place. We've got Mike producing this wonderful show. Mike is our producer in the room next door, and he is operating a vmix production PC. That's got vmix social on it, so I can see all of your questions. I can click a button and show those comments right up above. So we'll be showing your comments and focusing on them. We're using a PreSonus Studio Live audio mixer with Shure SLX1 wireless microphones, Shure SM7B studio mics here. Mike's using a PTZOptics SuperJoy to control the cameras, a Stream Deck, and we're streaming to YouTube right now. It looks like we're doing 1080p at 30 frames a second at 6 megabits. So also using Restream to pump out to other locations like Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yep, that's right, Paul. Thank you so much, Paul. We're looking forward to asking you all the questions, and keep those questions coming in. We'll get to them in just a minute. But something we always do on the show here is share your vision. If you don't know what share your vision is, you can use the hashtag share your vision on any social media platform, and we would love to share that workflow, just simple image of the camera, of the controller. Show us your setup in any environment, and we love to feature on the show. Today we have an interesting one. It's not so much of a workflow, but it's more of an overview and a review of the Studio 4K. So some of you guys might not know, but PTZOptics also makes fixed frame cameras. And if you want to learn more, tune into this video from Mass Point, and they'll tell you all about our Studio 4K.
All right, let's talk about webcams. Now, for the last few years, we've all been living in this weird world of grainy, blown-out video calls. The great webcam gold rush of 2020 meant every company on Earth pumped out a webcam, and most of them were fine. I mean, they had tiny sensors, cheap plastic lenses, and microphones that made you sound like you were in a wind tunnel. They were a pinch hitter, a temporary fix. But the pinch is over. It's time to actually upgrade. Now, you might have seen the original PTZOptics Studio Pro we looked at a few years back. It was this interesting, not quite a webcam camera. It had some legit pro features like a time of flight sensor for buttery smooth autofocus, real optical zoom, and NDI connectivity. But it was only 1080, and my biggest gripe was 0 physical buttons. Everything was in a web UI. But still, to this day, the #1 comment I get on a video call is, "Whoa, your camera looks amazing." And yeah, the lighting helps, but that camera has been the Studio Pro. So that brings us to this, the new Studio series. And this time, it feels like PTZOptics has been listening. I mean, this isn't just an update, it's a complete rethink of what a high-end webcam can be. In fact, it's not even a webcam, but a new category PTZOptics calls a fixed camera. Now you've got 2 body styles, a 1080p and a 4K model, 2 lens options for each, a 12x and a 20x optical zoom, so a whole lineup to choose from. And first impressions, the build is solid. The weird handle is gone, which I think is a cleaner look, but I will miss it. But they kept the smart features like the cold shoe mount on top for a mic or a light, and the quarter 20 threads on this bottom and the side. And yes, the side mount means you can rig this thing to shoot vertical mode. Let's just think that for a second. For this new content-filled world of shorts and TikToks, that's actually a pretty straightforward thinking feature. But the real story is around the back with the I/O. Well, you still got HDMI and USB, but that single Ethernet port is the star of the show. It can power the entire camera with PoE, power over Ethernet for those of you taking notes. It can send out a super high quality, low latency video signal using NDI HX3 and SRT, and it gives you network control. One cable can do almost anything. This is clean, and it brings me to my favorite upgrades. 3 things. #1, physical buttons. Finally, right on the side, you have a zoom rocker, a focus controller, and customizable function buttons. This is a huge quality of life improvement over digging through a web browser just to tweak your shot. For anyone using this as more than just a set it and forget it fixed camera, this is a game changer. #2, it now has an SDI port. It's not 4K over SDI, which is a bit of a miss, but for professional broadcast setups, having that locking, reliable video output is a massive win. And #3 is something called Hive. Basically, it's cloud control. I can send a link to my producer in another state and they can get full remote control of this camera's zoom, focus, and all its settings over the internet. No extra hardware needed on my end, and this is seriously cool. All right, so let's just get it out of the way. This is not a $100 fixed camera, not even close. You're looking at a serious investment. And you're probably thinking, well, my webcam works, why would I spend this much? And you'd probably be right. If all you need is a small camera to sit on your monitor for Teams calls, well, this is overkill. But the moment you want to do more, you hit a wall with a normal webcam. Normal webcam zoom is just digital crop, making the image even worse. You can't place it more than 3 feet away from you, and with a normal webcam, you can't connect it to a video switcher or use it in live productions. The Studio Series camera isn't a webcam. It's a compact, high-quality studio camera that can also be the best fixed camera you've ever used. The optical zoom means you can place it anywhere in the room and perfectly frame your shot. The Pro I/O means it can slot into a podcast setup, a city council meeting, a multi-camera live stream, or a town hall event without breaking a sweat. So who is this actually for? Well, it's for the creator who's ready to level up from a blurry cam to a professional looking setup. It's for the business or organization that needs a flexible, high quality camera for conferencing and broadcasting without the complexity of a traditional camera rig. It's for anyone who's tired of being the grainy person on the call. If you're still using that webcam you panic bought back in 2020, the jump in image quality, flexibility, and features here is just massive. It's an upgrade in every sense of the word, and trust me, you will get people saying, your camera looks great.
Thank you, JB&A and MassPoint Digital, for that awesome review of the Studio 4K. There's a lot coming today's show. We got all sorts of questions. I know you guys are also very curious how you're going to win the Move SE and some of the other prizes as well. Mike, could we show the giveaway just so I could explain this really quickly before we jump into Q&A? So there's our awesome little Vanna White Move SE there. Right next to the Move SE, there we have a little wheel. The wheel has a bunch of different prizes. There's 2 options on there for a Move SE. So how this will work is that I have some trivia. It's not like a full trivia game. It's basically you have to answer in chat. The first person to answer that trivia question, I will go, or we'll have someone on the team spin the board. Oh, Paul's going to spin the board here.
Yeah, I could use a little grease.
And we have our first spin. Again, no winner. We haven't asked any trivia question.
You want to move SE?
And that's
Paul, you
already
won
on the
yourself
Move
a Move
SE.
SE.
So
Nice.
it sounds like it's a rigged game already. So the first person that wins might win a Move SE.
It's never going
Alrighty.
to hit that the
So-
rest of the time.
So we'll take some breaks in between
Okay.
Q&A, but we'll pass it over to Paul. You know you have the tablet. If you want to pass it to me at
Here we
any point,
go.
you can. But we'll jump into some Q&A.
All right. So Alex has 4 PTZOptics cameras in a church sanctuary. They use the SuperJoy Controller. And is it possible to come up with some kind of recorded motion, begin at coordinate A, end at coordinate B? Can you guys talk about some of the PTZ preset movements and how to kind of make it go smooth but from across a choir, for example?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
So I think the question is really being asked: are we going to introduce some sort of like macro recorder in order to start from one end and take it to the other and kind of record a sweep? Currently, we don't have that as an option, but we do have features built into the PTZOptics cameras. One is called Preset Tour, which is the ability to set multiple presets and call along that length of those presets. Once it gets to the end, then it'll repeat back to the beginning. If you're using the SuperJoy, you could create a custom command button to enable that and disable that preset tour. That's one, I think, good solution or workaround to achieve what you're trying to do. Andy, do you have others?
Yeah, we also have the preset speeds on the cameras, so you can adjust how fast the camera is going to move to a specific preset, which will help control the movement of the camera as you call a preset. Not quite the same as a recorded movement, but a way to kind of control that movement between presets.
It's perfect. And yeah, I mean, I think what Alex is asking here is she wants to come up with a recorded movement that mimics a person on a fluid head, and they want to pan through a choir. So, you know, as you're setting up 2 presets, remember there's pan, tilt, and zoom, plus the color settings,
Yes.
which is something everyone has to remember because it's very confusing that we do that.
Yep.
If you set a preset and you change all your color settings and set another preset, it's going to change all of your color settings, which is very, you know, if you don't know that, it's very disorienting, and there's no way to change that. So there's no way to change that, right, Josh?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So when you're setting presets, make sure you have all of your color settings done first. Then you're setting presets, and you can set the pan, tilt, and zoom speed that the camera will move between those presets. And then there's another option as well called motion sync that will synchronize the pan, tilt, and zoom. So if you add a little bit of zoom, including pan and tilt, I find it really does look like there's a real camera operator doing those movements. If there's a little bit of panning, a little bit of zooming, so zooming out, and it kind of gives you that look. And then, as Josh said, there are the preset tours, which will go through 3, 4, 5, 10 presets in a loop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's keep going here. I'm going to make sure I get everybody here. Kenneth Nunn is saying, how's the issue with the CMP auto tracking coming along? I talked to someone a few days ago, and they said it was being looked at.
So
Curious.
the CMP, it is fixed. It's currently live on our website at PTZOptics.com. You may have to download a new version of it, but we have fixed the auto tracking ability built into it.
Nice. So does that mean anyone who's using the CMP should uninstall the current one and download the new one?
That's probably going to be the safest bet, yes.
Got it. Okay.
Josh, could you tell everyone what the CMP is if they don't know what the camera management platform is?
Yeah, so the CMP was what I've always considered the early stages of where we've brought Hive to. But the CMP is this multiple camera interface that allows us to set up auto tracking for all cameras, including G2 cameras, do color correction, do color matching between multiple cameras, and just so many other advanced control options brought to you one desktop application.
Totally free, available on PTZ Optics.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Now we have MyTraderNZ saying he's got a PTZOptics Move 4K 20, and he saw a video with the new firmware that allows for auto tracking not to function only left and right, but keeping the up and down locked. He's asking how to enable this.
Yes, so there's two ways to do that. In the current firmware, production firmware, you could do this by setting PT limits. Also in our beta firmware version, which should be coming to production very soon, we do have the ability to do tilt lock, and that will be giving your camera the option to focus on one set of a horizontal plane and only track across that.
Nice. So essentially, this is a good example of your product team really updating the firmware, maintaining it, continually making these cameras better and listening to the customers.
Yes, it is. And I highly encourage anyone to ask questions throughout the show of things that you may want to look for in the future as well. I'm taking notes on my little tablet here, and whatever's possible, we will try to implement.
Mike, if you show my screen here, I can show exactly in the menu where this is. So this is our 4K 30X. It's our main camera shot. You can see here. This is the web interface when you first open it up. If you go over to control, you'll see an option. It'll open up to the automation page where there's an option for the tilt lock. And you can turn that off to disable for automation, like auto tracking in particular. It'll disable any sort of tilt option.
Should probably keep that open for this show because I know there's going to be a lot of questions in that area.
Absolutely.
The nice thing about locking the tilt, especially if you're in like education where you want the whiteboard visible, you can zoom it in so that the top of the whiteboard is always in view and then lock the tilt. So it'll follow the teacher left and right however they move, but you'll always keep the whiteboard in focus. Same with a lot of houses of worship. There's certain things that they want to show in the background, whether it's the band or whether it's the scenery, maybe it's the choir. They want the camera to follow the pastor, which you can do with presenter lock to lock into that specific person, but it gives you a little bit more control over the scenery.
Yes, and just one more follow-up for that to make sure we all know that is the beta firmware that John is using. So that is not currently production. That is beta.
Oh.
Visit ptzoptics.com/beta, and you can download that latest version. Soon to be production released.
Very soon. Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
That's kind of leads into this question from Pat. Is there any planned upgrade for the auto tracking to provide the ability to adjust the bounding box?
So the bounding box is a feature on the Move 4Ks. I don't think it's necessarily something that you need to adjust. It's just going to be the box that's around each face that the camera sees. So really, if you want your shot to change, you can set the camera to a dynamic zoom. And then while tracking's on, you can adjust your zoom level as the camera's tracking. So I think that's what he was asking. But
Yeah, let's take a look at these bounding boxes. So John is going to be able to cycle through everyone in the scene by using the menus like this, and then you just click the home button to choose that person, right?
Correct.
So John just chose me. He has vertical composition on the top, so it's putting me in the top of the frame. And then he's got dynamic zoom on. So that means he can still zoom while the auto tracking is on, but it's going to continue putting me in the top. Now, John, let's go to with that select target that you have there. Let's turn that to multi-target select. I think that's the best way to explain. Just hit apply here. I think this is the best way to explain the way the bounding boxes work. See how each of us have a number on top? That kind of gives you an idea of the way that it's working, right, Josh?
Correct. So multi-target select is a little bit different feature of selecting each target. Multi-target select gives each person a number. You can type that number into the preset field and hit call, and that will change to that next person. But this is a kind of a frame of reference. The camera itself recognizes each human in the room. As you can see, it doesn't recognize the dog, but it will draw the box. That's its way of recognizing who it should be tracking.
And John, why don't you just choose center for the vertical alignment? Because having it be top is probably gonna calls it off a little. So now it's going to center everyone. But is that top vertical, that top composition, that vertical composition, is that what customers were asking for to eliminate the headroom essentially?
Yeah. So you have top, center, and bottom, and you have left, right, and center.
Got
So
it.
those are what I would call the rule of thirds
Mhm.
in photography, where you would have a grid. This is kind of placing you in one of those 9 different positions that you have available for composition.
Got it. Okay, great.
Sorry, I messed your shot up there, Mike.
All right. We're going to go to Companion. So a lot of people know about BitFocus. Companion is an open source free control surface control software for our cameras.
Yes.
They're asking if there is a cheat sheet for Companion commands.
So I don't have anything offhand, but I would have to look at BitFocus Companion and see if they have something available. Maybe we have it in our support channel group, Andy. Would you know?
do not think we do.
No?
That's
Okay.
something I jotted down to look into after the show. We'll look into it further, but I do not think we have that documentation posted right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would be, if we do find it, that's something we'd have like a knowledge base article eventually
Probably,
around.
yeah.
So that'd be a great place to locate it once we locate it ourselves.
The BitFocus companion system does support PTZOptics cameras. So essentially, when you use BitFocus companion, you're kind of like building your own Stream Deck, if you will, and it has a lot more support than just the Elgato Stream Deck. It's got all kinds of, because it's open source and the community can post a lot of stuff. If you look at the PTZOptics module, it will show you a drop down of every single thing that's available. I will just say the Stream Deck plugin was just updated recently. So it has things like turning on and off auto tracking.
Right.
I'm guessing that the product team or whoever on our team will update the companion would probably need to add some of those newer API functions with the new API coming out. But okay, great. All right, so now we're going over to Mark, and Mark is saying that our town conference has 3 Move 4K cameras along with the Shure MXA 920. Can you talk a bit about how to interface this and possibly select a camera and presets and pass the camera selections to vmix?
Yeah, so one great thing we have coming to our cameras is, again, another firmware that is in our beta group for the Move 4K and Link 4K cameras. We will be bringing voice tracking. With voice tracking, the MXA 920 is an available microphone. You would select that from a drop-down, as well as vmix as your switching software. From there, every time you speak and the MXA 920 has a zone that's recognized from the person who's speaking, you would use the camera to call a preset to that exact position. And then as each individual person speaks throughout the room, every zone that is triggered in the MXA 920 would then call the next preset. Now, this doesn't just have to be limited to presets of the camera. These are also scenes within vmix. So now if you have multiple cameras, like you've suggested, you can call, say, preset 1, camera 1 for person 1, and then preset 2, camera 1 for person number 2, and maybe even preset 1, scene 2 on the third camera, something along those lines, to get a nice fluid scene switching motion during voice tracking.
Speaking of scene switching, so you're not just controlling the camera with the beamforming microphone, you're also offering OBS scene switching, vmix scene switching, and then the InnoGenie Share 2?
The InnoGenie Cam 200.
Okay, got it. And then, is that all? Or is there more?
And we've also introduced the ability to have the
Epiphan
Pearl.
Wonderful.
Yep, the Pearl Nano and the Pearl 2.
Correct.
I'm glad you're doing that because I think, it's nice to control a camera with voice tracking, obviously. But if you're doing anything with multiple cameras, or as Mark just pointed out, in a conference like kind of town hall room, just controlling the camera is great, but like switching is really, really a nice feature that you guys added there.
Yeah. And having multiple cameras in a room is very important, especially for a town hall situation where typically I imagine people are sitting almost shoulder to shoulder. This will eliminate the camera from doing robotic movements across and panning. So with 2 cameras, you do one scene, while it switches to the other person,
Yeah.
and vice versa. That way you don't get that motion sickness move if it's really sweeping quickly to the next target.
That's a really good point. Is it even just like cutting to a wide shot before you do the close up, right? And
Right.
that's sort of what you guys have given the customers the ability to kind of get any style or look that they want. But that cutting to a wide shot is always a safe one. While the PTZ camera is moving, is there a delay function so that you could cut in a little bit?
Correct. So you can set delays. The one thing that we also have in there is that you can set to have a silence zone. So if everyone just kind of stops talking, like if we stopped here, we'd pan wide so everyone
Got
can
it.
be seen. Similar to what Mike's doing right now. As I'm speaking to you, my camera over here is switching to me. When Paul speaks, his camera over there is switching to him.
Beautiful.
Paul, Mike
Yes.
is wondering if anyone's saying hi in the chat, if anyone's saying where they're
from.
watching from, if there's anything else in there.
I've been going straight to the questions, but let me come back here and just say hi to Emmanuel Yoder from Concha. This is Conshockton.
I know. I thought it was Concha
Ohio.
Hawken too. Yeah.
We've got Ken Nunn calling in from Oklahoma, Matt Jenkins from Gaithersburg, Maryland. We've got Mark coming in from Simsbury, Connecticut. Spider Pig from Nariva.
Oh.
We have a lot of people coming in, trying to see what else we have here. Please tell us where you're calling from, and I'm going to keep going to the questions. Okay. All right. Bill Dawson is asking, using presets, can pan, tilt, and zoom finish their functions at the same time? For example, the tilt can finish before the pan in some cases.
So that's touching on what motion sync does, which we already talked about a little bit earlier in the show. But motion sync, depending on how far your pan, tilt, and zoom are for each other, with motion sync on, which is one of the settings on the camera, it's going to try and time the speed of your pan, your tilt, and your zoom so they all end at the exact same time when you call a preset. So that'll make it so the preset's a much more fluid looking motion. The only times it can get a little strange is when you have a preset that's going to involve the camera panning a whole lot but zooming very little, or vice versa. You might see a very fast pan and a very slow zoom if it has a lot of pan to get through and very small amount of zoom to get through. So I think it's something that's on by default on all the cameras, default settings. So you'll probably see it when you get your camera and start playing around with the presets. Motion sync should be on by default. And I should mention motion sync will always override the preset speeds on the camera. So if you want to control your speeds between presets, turn off motion sync first, and then start adjusting your call preset speed and your pre-zoom speed.
So just so I could think about this from a customer perspective, let's say, the customer's saying, hey, I want pan, tilt, and zoom to all kind of smoothly finish in one beautiful sweep. By the default settings of the cameras, that's just the way they have it set up. It's not working that way. Turn motion sync off and get your preset speed dialed in.
Motion sync turned on should look that way.
Okay.
If you're not seeing that kind of motion, check your settings and make sure motion sync is in fact turned on. You can adjust the speed of motion sync as well. So you might want to play around with those settings. And if it's still not working the way you think it should, get in contact with support. That's what we're here for.
Awesome.
Yeah, motion sync is that natural ability to get more of a real camera operator behind the camera. With motion sync disabled, you get that robotic movement of, pan would go up and then it would tilt and then it would zoom in sequential order instead of one fluid curved motion.
Got it.
Should we do
Okay.
a quick trivia question before Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Mike, if you could show my screen here, we have our first trivia question. If you guys answer this, the first person to answer this in the chat, and I'll look to you, Paul. You could tell me who is our winner
Okay.
here.
I got it
So,
right here.
What glass feature allows PTZ cameras to zoom in without losing image quality? So the first person to answer this correctly, we will go up and spin the wheel for you, and you have a chance to win a Move SC, our 1080p
Ooh.
PTZ camera.
This is going to...
What glass feature
It's gonna
allows
cause a
PTZ
lot-
cameras to zoom in without losing image quality?
And we're just saying, type it right into the chat.
Type it right into
Type
the
it right
chat.
into
Yep.
the YouTube. This is a YouTube chat thing. If you're watching somewhere else, come to YouTube. We're only looking at YouTube. And Alex got it.
Nice, Alex.
Alex. Ding-a-ling-ding-ding-ding.
Giffen,
Optical zoom.
congrats.
That is correct.
All right. So
Who
you might be
wants-
wondering, what else do we have to give away as well? So we have a little PTZ Optics Huddle Cam backpack. We have an awesome PTZ Optics shirt as well that we're going to be giving away today. A webcam, all sorts of goodies here.
Ooh, okay.
So let's spin the wheel.
You want to spin the wheel this time, Andy? Sure. Andy gets to show off his super cool shirt too.
Now, it's a little hard to read, so we'll read it out for you. Let's see, Vanna White it.
Or we'll zoom it in. There we go. It'd be easier to read with that optical zoom.
1 month of Hive Studio standard plan.
Okay.
Awesome. So you
Okay.
just won Hive Studio. If you guys are a winner, so this is an honest system. If you go into the chat, the description there, in the description of the video or the live stream, there is a form. You can just fill that out, fill in your information, and we will send all of that to you. So
Nice.
congrats. You won a month of Hive. You can test it out with up to 3 cameras. If you guys have any questions about Hive, feel free to throw them in because we'll jump right back to Q&A now.
All right. Jazzmania is saying, is there any way to make the tracking less sensitive? My guess is that the tracking is moving a little fast for her.
So there is on all of the G3 cameras, there is a sensitivity under the tracking, low, medium, or high. High being the more aggressive the camera is going to be at repositioning to try and get the perfect shot. It being on low means it's going to be less aggressive about repositioning the camera to keep a subject in center frame. I think that's the only real setting we have to adjust the sensitivity.
That's the only setting that we have currently to offer.
Right.
So I don't get just to play with the stuff as much as you guys do. So is that only for the Move 4K? That with the Move SE, it's just is what it is?
Oh, actually, you're right. That is only on the Move 4K. That is not on the Move SE.
Okay. Can we write that down as a potential
I'm writing
maybe
it
feature
down
upgrade? Because I don't know, Jasmine, maybe you could tune on us. Maybe you have the Move SE and maybe that's why she's asking.
Yeah, it could be.
Very likely.
Very possible,
I
yeah.
would guess.
Now, if you have the CMP, which has auto tracking, that works with the Move SE, right?
It does, yes.
Does that offer sensitivity options?
Not a lot, no. The CMP and the auto tracking in the CMP is relatively limited. But we do have some customers that swear by it, that love the tracking of the CMP, as we noticed when the tracking quit working a few weeks ago. But yeah, there's not a lot of customization over the tracking in the CMP, but a lot of people really like the way it operates. So
Okay. Let's see here. Here's one. Redland Baptist Church. Can we set up the Move? So it's not saying whether it's a Move SE or Move 4K. But and by the way, if you're listening, if you're talking specifically about a camera that you own, if you say if it's a Move SE or a Move 4K, that helps us understand the question better. But saying, can we set up a Move so that we can see the bounding boxes only on the web or in the CMP? It is showing on the SDI output. We haven't looked into this recently, but we're curious.
So I know there was a bug with the Move SE, I believe, that was showing the bounding boxes for like a fraction of a second at times over the SDI output. I believe that's been fixed.
Yes, I believe that has
Yeah.
been fixed. We targeted that to remove that. However, on the Move 4K, if you're using the target select option, your bounding boxes will show on the output feed of the HDMI or the SDI. If you use multi-target select, you still have the ability to do left and right arrows, just like you would with the target select, but the bounding boxes, I don't believe, show on the hard outputs of the camera.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check that to verify.
That seems good to me. Chad is asking, did the StreamGeeks die? No, the StreamGeeks have not died, but we usually host a StreamGeeks Summit in December, and we've got a brand new global director of marketing, and she's just getting her feet wet with everything. She asked me to push it to Q1, so like February, March. So if you're thinking about the StreamGeeks Summit not happening this year, I'm sorry. StreamGeeks have not died, but we just have pushed the conference back a few more months. So we'll be in touch about that.
Paul, let me follow up one more thing about the last question as well. If you set the bounding boxes to off, then the box itself won't draw on any of the outputs. Now your limitations for that is using left and right arrows. That's the only way to select the person left or right.
Got it. Okay. And then the same question here, or same person asking, is there any training for building advanced items on the SuperJoy? And I'll just say we definitely do have trainings about that. We've done entire shows on the SuperJoy that have that information. So check our YouTube channel for that.
Yeah, if you just search SuperJoy, that should be the best way right on the channel.
Okay. Recommended camera for small-ish 15 by 20 room that is 50 feet from the AV desk, hence USB not being an option. Using SDI everywhere else, ?
15 by 20 room is pretty small. Probably a 12x 4K or SE, depending on what your needs are. But either of those, if you get it on the network, the distance isn't going to matter. You can use NDI for your video, the Ethernet connection to a PoE switch for power, and that same Ethernet connection for control. If you're using SDI for all of the existing infrastructure, either of those cameras, you should be able to do 1080p 60 max resolution out of the SDI. And I believe SDI is about a 300-foot run distance, so you should have no problem using a Move 4K or a Move SE in that setup.
And additionally, we do have a list of compatible partners for the Pro AV space. There are USB extenders available that will extend USB over a Cat 5 cable. So if you just visit our website, there's quite a few of them that we've confirmed and verified that they do work with our cameras. That is a great way to bring in both video and control to a PC from a long distance away.
I will touch on that. In my years of doing support, I have found USB extenders to be less reliable than an SDI converter. USB extension, though it has been getting better in the more recent years, I still think is the least reliable extension method for pulling video with these cameras.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I agree with that. Brian is saying we have a Move SE camera and it's seemingly causing intermittent chroma key issues by moving into auto exposure with VizRT Mini S software. This does not happen with OBS. Any thoughts?
That is a specific and odd one. I would really love if you could send a ticket to support@PTZOptics.com. That'll go to us and the support team. We will work with the engineering team. We'll try and replicate it and do our best to figure it out. It is odd that it wouldn't happen in OBS, though.
Do you have the VizRT Mini S?
We
on
don't,
hand?
but we can look into it.
Okay. One of the things I'll note here is, using auto exposure is something that you probably don't want to do if you're in a studio environment. Using chroma key, you probably want to be in manual exposure. I've done a lot of work with chroma keys, and obviously it has a lot to do with color. I happen to be colorblind, so I'm not the best at all of this color stuff. But one of the things I learned using our cameras and trying to tweak them for color is hue. So HUE is a setting that essentially shifts the entire color bracket. And so that to me has worked when I'm trying to tweak. I have manual exposure, got manual white balance and everything, and I adjust the hue until the green really pops. And that has been helpful for me.
Good. Yeah, there are a lot of tools for color balancing and adjusting the exposure on the cameras themselves. It can get a little annoying, all of those settings saved with the presets. So as you try and adjust things and you have presets saved, you might call an errant preset that had old settings. So that just goes back to making sure you're tested and good to go before your show, and all your presets have all the settings you want saved before going live. It'll make things a lot easier.
All right. Daniel has a question about focus. How to keep the camera in focus while it's zooming in and out. He uses the SuperJoy.
So the camera should stay in focus when they're zooming. That is one of the indicators that you might need a focus calibration on your camera. If it goes out of focus when you start zooming and it comes back in focus when you're done zooming, that's something that a focus calibration can usually fix. Depending on what model camera this is, we have different processes for the G2s and the G3s. On the newest firmware, it should be available in the web GUI of the cameras under the system settings, or we have a tool to do the focus calibration. Again, if you have any questions about it, reach out to support@ptzoptics.com. We can walk you through it.
Yeah, I also wanted to just highlight the focus lock and the focus limit options under the focus section of the image tab as well. So you could set a maximum focus and a maximum distance of focus as well, nearest and furthest point of focus.
So let me ask a question about that, because I'll be honest, I've never used that before. Let's just imagine there's a stage that you only want the camera to focus on this range of space. What happens when you zoom into something that's closer or further away? It just doesn't focus into that spot.
Correct. Yeah, so you're actually setting your depth of focus and your positioning when you set minimum and maximum. With those, if you come outside of that range, you're just going to start bringing yourself much more out of focus. We have a tutorial video to show how to do true bokeh effect. Now, everyone really asks for bokeh, which is kind of like that zoom background blur.
Yeah.
In actual cameras, you can make that effect happen in real life by adjusting these focus limits. Somewhere in one of our YouTube banks of videos, there is a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do that. And that's just an example of blurring a background while bringing something foreground clear.
Yeah, this is a video I shot at my house with a real living poinsettia, not the fake ones that we have here in the studio.
Oh, I thought this was real.
And this is with everything that's auto. So autofocus,
Whoa.
auto white balance, and auto exposure. And you'll see at certain points when I'm zooming into the tree or I'm zooming into the poinsettia, like it'll change not only the focus, obviously, what you want, but it'll change the color and the white balance as well. So I recorded this video to show basically how you might not always want to have things in auto, especially auto white balance. If you're zooming into a very blue background like this is, and then to a very red foreground, you can see right there as I'm zooming out and it's getting more blue, it's changing the white balance of the video. So it's not something you probably want on all the time, but I just wanted to record it to see. And then you can really see the camera's open all the way to, I think, like 1.4. And you can see just how much you can kind of get and distance the background once
Now,
you open it up.
This is really interesting, and I want to show a little bit more of this focus tab that you're playing with over here, John, because there's also focus sensitivity and a focus zone. And so maybe you could explain some of the thinking behind this, Josh. This is most of this stuff is for when the autofocus is on,
Correct.
which a lot of people like to use the autofocus, and it's kind of giving you options on how you want the autofocus to operate. Meaning you might want the autofocus to focus on something that's always in the center, and then you have other options to choose.
Correct. So the idea behind this is you have top, middle, bottom, and front. So
Okay.
top would be focusing something a little higher near the top of the lens itself. Middle would be that central, bottom. And front is this interesting space. Do you have a good description of it?
It's going to try and focus on the foreground as opposed to the background.
Yeah. Spatially in like a three-dimensional area, that's kind of what it's trying to achieve. It's not just what's right in the middle. It's more what's over there in the middle.
Yeah. With some of these concepts that are difficult to describe and understand, if there's any way to do an icon to explain it, the picture's worth 1,000 words sometimes, but we don't always have the opportunity to explain this to the customers.
Yeah. And our cameras are always set to normal. So a lot of people, especially if they're in the sports world and cars and running, they want the fastest autofocus. And you can easily change that under this image and focus tab here. So
Why would you want like low focus sensitivity so that it doesn't just like grab something walking by or something?
Correct. You want to be able to mimic, or not mimic, you want to replicate the behavior of the camera each time that you're using it. You don't want the camera, especially in auto, to do something that was unintended. Now, high is going to be more aggressive and it's going to focus on things faster, where low is going to be more predictable. Medium or the normal, that's kind of where we leave the cameras tuned at to give you the best experience out of the box for our cameras. And at at the end of the day, that's what we really try to achieve is best user experience right out of the box itself. We're allowing you, the customer, to define what your user experience is after that with all these massive amounts of features that we have to fine tune your production.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of like your shot, Paul, or any of your individual shots. Is you're not really moving. You're in the entire image. Like there's not going to be much behind you, like a podcast, maybe, for instance. So you wouldn't need to ever really change the focus unless something is like popping up or you're holding up something, I would say.
The focus lock is an interesting one because when you do lock like, let's say you get it into it, something that you're interested in, and you lock the focus, it does give you the ability to set a preset, zoom out, it goes blurry, and then you can call that preset back and it gets right to the perfect focus. So there's a lot of interesting artistic things that you can do with these focus tools. In fact, John's showing it now using the SuperJoy in front of him. He's showing how I guess you lock the focus now.
Yep, I locked it to bring it back. Now it's
Yeah,
very hard to do it perfectly, delicately.
There you go. Oh,
If you did save it with a preset,
Yeah, if I
that
saved
would
it
get
with
it
a
exactly
preset.
to where it needs to
Exactly. Yeah, very hard to do manually, but you aren't usually adjusting focus manually this way anyway.
cool. So I am the JP has a question. We just finished installing 2 PTZOptics Move 4K 20x cameras and 2 12x's and the SuperJoy controller all set up with NDI. We're still testing the setup, and it seems like the autofocus is not as accurate as they thought it would be.
It should be. It might depend on the environment. The focus settings that Paul and John just went over. But usually it should be pretty crisp and good, depending on what you're looking at. It's another one where feel free to grab some screenshots and send them over to support@ptzoptics.com. We're always happy to talk things through or remote in, take a look at settings, and see if we can figure out what's going on.
And one thing that's also really important to think about when you're talking focus and a lot of these camera settings is your lighting environment. Make sure what it's looking at is well lit so the camera can recognize it, especially in these auto modes. If you have shadows and maybe low contrast on certain things, it's going to have a more difficult time figuring out how to focus on that. So during setup, lighting is very key.
I will expand a little further, and we designed these cameras with autofocus in mind. 9 times out of 10, you should be able to run with autofocus and have it work. But every now and again, you're set up an environment where autofocus just isn't working the way you want it to. And in those situations, saving a manual focus with a preset, adjusting your focus yourself so you can get things perfectly crisp, and saving those to a preset and just relying on calling the presets is another way to go with this. That said, we really pride ourselves on that autofocus working really well. So if there are issues with it, feel free to let us know, and we'll do everything we can to try and make it work.
Yeah, and remember to note off Andy here, we have 255 available presets. So that's plenty of different scenes and shots that you can set up just for your camera.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Daniel from the Netherlands. Got Durwood, Maryland. Live stream Hawaii coming in.
Nice.
Mirandy from Florida. We've got Douglas from Ontario. And we've got some more questions. Okay. Outcast is asking, will PTZOptics cameras ever support OMT, the new vmix IP protocol?
I'm not sure, but we've been looking into it and kind of watching what that's doing in the market. There's always a possibility. At this very point in time, we are not offering anything to support that, but it doesn't mean we won't offer things like that in the future.
Yeah, I hear that almost every week now. It's becoming more and more popular this year, especially in sports. Just there's such low latency. I think people love it, and yeah, I think we have to pursue that at some point in time. I think people would love that.
We've got a couple more questions. I know John wants to keep doing the giveaways. David said he has implemented control for 2 MXA 920 microphones and up to 3 PTZOptics cameras. Now they're going to integrate the SimpleTrack 3. So more of a statement than a question there.
It's a good statement.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That's awesome. Yeah, the one really neat thing with our voice tracking solution and implementing the microphones and multiple cameras, As long as you have one Move 4K or one Link 4K in the mix, you can treat that as the brain of the rest of your production. So that one camera is also able to control presets and switch some of the switchers on a lot of different products. So especially, if you wanted to combine the Move 4Ks with a Simple Track 3, that's a great workflow.
Okay. Question here. What is the 3D tab?
The 3D. 3D is, I have a definition, but I don't have it committed to memory. But 3D is a XR VR implementation. It's the ability to allow our cameras to come into this digital space and have spatial information. So it's knowing exactly where the camera is positioned with pan, tilt, zoom, and focus. So 3D is a feature that we have. The current beta firmware will support Unreal Engine by bringing that into their 3D environment. You'll see this used in like weather on the news. A lot of times you'll see one person standing in the middle of the scene and they're kind of talking. They used to use the green screens, then they moved to TVs. Now they're really moving into this 3D kind of space where they can bring the clouds and the rain all the way around them and really submerge them into this environment. What we have in this tab is the starting off point of allowing that to happen and letting the camera recognize exactly where people are positioned in the room based on coordinates, and that data is able to be translated into this XR VR environment.
Cool.
Yeah, Mike, I have it pulled up here. We actually have a whole web page dedicated to 3D, which I forgot about that I actually wrote at some point in time. Oh no, we're getting distracted by the dog here.
So this is Frank, and he has been self-proclaimed the chief dog officer of PTZOptics. So he is our CDO.
Wake up, Frank. Wake up. Ah,
He says, "Stop it right now."
okay. All right. Fred is mentioning that the Discord server link for the beta testing is either swamped or down. So we will look into that. Is there a social community for Hive? I'm sure someone is looking to hire remote camera operators. We have a Facebook group, PTZOptics Facebook user group. That is a great place to talk about Hive and anything PTZOptics related. Of course, we also have the Discord server as well. Brian's saying, thanks, we'll get a ticket in. For some reason, the camera keeps coming out of manual exposure to auto exposure upon powered down.
So that might be the PTZOptics cameras will call preset 0 when they boot up. And off the bat, preset 0 is your home position. It has all your default settings saved to it. So if you saved presets 1 through 20, but you never went back and saved preset 0, when you reboot your camera, preset 0 is going to get called. All those automatic default settings are going to be there with preset 0. If your other presets are saved and you're good, call one of those presets, zoom out to your home position, and resave preset 0 with your settings from one of the other presets. And I think you should be good to go.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's so
and
helpful.
on that, go ahead, John.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's so helpful. That's all I want to say.
On that note, at least for me, and Andy, you can stop me if I'm completely wrong because I don't deal with as many customers as you do. I often recommend once you get your color calibration set and you really love it, set preset 0 as your default as a global setting.
I
then
recommend the exact same thing.
and then finally, fine tune and tweak the other presets that you want from there. But it's just a good practice to have that backup. And that way, if you ever run into trouble, you call preset 0 again. It's exactly where you wanted everything to start off with, and then slowly move in and tweak your settings from there.
Absolutely. It's a great practice to get into, get the settings the way you want, save preset 0. That's your default setting. That's what the camera is going to use every time it reboots. If you have other needs for different exposure or color settings for other presets, like your stage, we see a lot of church clients that have stained glass windows and different lighting scenarios built into their stage. So different presets require totally different exposure settings, and that's where get your baseline good at preset 0 and then adjust each of your other ones from there.
All right. Currently in the advanced settings on the web GUI, there is a video stream 1 and video stream 2. Video stream 1 isn't providing real-time feedback when using the GUI for the operator. Is video stream 2 faster?
Well, yeah, we have 2 RTSP feeds from the camera. Stream 1 is your high def feed. It's usually going to have a lot more latency than stream 2. That I think the default is like 640 by 360 for the resolution at a 30 frames per second. So it's a really low 2000 bit rate, 640 by 360 feed. It's really meant as a preview feed for the cameras. You get lower latency. That's the one we usually have tied into the HDMI output from the SuperJoy. That's the one that we usually pull into the web GUI to have more real-time video in the web GUI. You can adjust that in the web GUI to be either IP video stream 1 or 2 for your preview feed. If you're seeing an issue with the latency of stream 1, maybe try and go in and set it to stream 2 and see if that works any better for you.
Archangel is asking, any plan to have a Linux plugin since now many of us are moving away from Windows 11? Do we have any support for Linux?
It's a good question.
So I will have to get with our software engineers and talk that one through. I'd be very curious to understand why you're moving away from Windows 11, other than, Microsoft is what it is. But if we start hearing more and more demand, we'll definitely start looking into the need for Linux plugins.
The CMP works with Linux. I can tell you that right now from a ancillary Google search.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, if you're using Linux, let us know, because we were kind of wondering that ourselves, how many people actually use Linux. They're using OBS here, which works for Linux. Using OBS, we would like to move to NDI. Should we bring audio into the PC via Dante or a direct input from our board, or push the audio into the camera directly via the 3.5 millimeter
this is
audio
really
input?
What works best for you in your workflow. You can take your audio from your board into the line in on one of the cameras and bring that into OBS. It'll be an audio source into OBS. I see a lot of customers use like USB audio interfaces, like the Focusrite Scarletts, just something to take a balanced stereo output from your board into a 2-channel balanced input into the Scarlett, and then just have that as a USB audio input into OBS. Aside from that, you can run it directly from the board into like the mic in, the 3.5 on your computer. That's probably going to be the worst option of those 3, but any of them should work.
Okay.
Paul, Mike said he has something for you. I don't know if he's going to put something on the screen for us.
Oh, he's got something for me?
He said he's queuing it.
Oh my gosh, I'm not answering that one. But I do have one. I saw that, by the way. I do have one. It says, how can I paint the camera like the red PTZ you have in the camera cabinet behind you?
You want me to go grab it for you?
That's not a painted camera. That's manufactured that way.
So this is actually, you can hold it. This is actually going to be coming to the Move 4K line soon. So you'll be able to get one yourself if you so choose.
I think we had a request for the cameras being put into industrial spaces where they need to be very highly visible, hence the color we used.
Yeah, you're not going to miss this.
Yeah.
And Andy, if you can follow up with the trials and pain points of people painting their cameras.
Oh, don't do that.
Yes.
Don't paint your cameras.
It will void the warranties.
Yeah, don't do that.
But yes, I do think the red camera is nice, especially if you're like let's say you are in like a broadcast area where you want people to know, hey, we're not trying to hide it. We are streaming this event. And I also think there's a lot of like sports events or marketing events where you want people to go, oh, check the live, like you walking by this event in the mall or whatever. It's being live streamed right now. Like, check it out. Like, you're part of it or whatever. So this kind of goes along with that line being very, very bright red.
Alrighty, should we do another trivia?
I think we should.
Give something away? All right, Mike, cut to my screen. We have another question. First one to answer it in the chat gets a spin at the wheel. In what year was one of the first widely recognized commercial PTZ-style robotic cameras released? The Sony EVI.
So this is
D30.
whoever's closest to the guess.
Yeah, basically whoever Googles it first is essentially how this works.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I was fascinated by this. Do you guys have a guess live here on the show?
1993.
You said 93?
1993.
Okay. Okay. Paul?
I was thinking 98.
People want to give away the red camera now.
Well, that probably would be a good giveaway next year.
All right. Well, let it. Okay. We have the right answer from Redland Baptist Church. We can spin the wheel. It's actually 1996. Sony released the EVI D30. Yeah, you were the closest here in the room.
Okay. You got
you
it.
Move SC?
Boom.
Wow, look at that.
Okay.
I wish we had party music. Yeah, that's impressive. Congrats to you. I can't believe we already got it away. Well, we can keep still spinning the wheel. We only have one Move SC to give away, but we have some webcams and other things.
By the way, Josh, Archangel has responded to your question. At least for him, he's moving away from Windows 11 because they keep adding AI, something they don't want in their church, and it messes around with basic functionality. They just need to live stream from their church computer that they have, so they don't want all of that Copilot AI stuff, which I agree.
That makes a lot of sense.
You know, like totally. As soon as you start Windows, they're like, do you mind if we track everything in your life? Yes. And you're like, no, I don't want that. This is not for that. So...
No, I do agree. As entertaining as AI is, it has become very invasive, especially in a lot of these products like Windows 11.
I think invasive is a very good word for it.
That's exactly what it's been doing. I don't need to, every single text message I send, tell me to rewrite it because I misspelled something. Or maybe I do. I don't know.
I like the AI recap when you get like one message from someone in Google Chat and they think you need a recap of the single message. It's like, I'm okay. I can read one message. All right.
So, I think we got, we're already into an hour, John. So I think we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, as long as you think there's not unanswered questions, I'm satisfied on my end. I want to make sure the people are happy out there.
There was a question about Dante AV versus NDI versus OMT, and I just don't know if we want to open that can of worms right now.
That's a much longer conversation.
That's an entire show.
Yeah, that's an entire show's worth of.
I'll bet you there's a lot more support for NDI than the other two right now. So
yeah, that's for sure.
That you can probably guarantee. Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. I think we can wrap up here. I have a couple more slides, Mike, you can throw up here, but I just want to thank everyone for watching us this year. PTZOptics, we always love listening to you guys. We're always, our ears are always open. If you guys are looking to kickstart your project, create your vision today, you can go to our Where to Buy page, and that'll show you all across the globe where you can find PTZOptics. And of course, if you guys are looking to learn a little bit more about PTZOptics, you want to talk with me one-on-one, you can scan this QR code. You can just scream in the chat. You can find my phone number out there in the wild. I am open and available. So scan that QR code. And of course, last but not least, happy holidays. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Paul, Josh, and Andy. I appreciate you guys for coming on today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations, Redland Baptist Church.
Yes, congrats, Redland.
You're welcome.